Now, there are some things that I think it's important to understand, right? Now, this is some advanced level game. This is how to stay faithful. Now, faithful is more than just sleeping with one woman, right? This is something that can help you if you are a man with a rotation, because I personally believe that in order to be masculine and dominant, you have to have the ability to reward good behavior. If you do not have the ability to reward good behavior, then you will spend more time, energy, resources, affection, attention on women simply because they're new and attractive, and you will become a thrill seeker. And there's nothing masculine and dominant about being a thrill seeker. There's nothing wrong with liking sex. There's nothing wrong with enjoying sex. There's nothing wrong with liking and enjoying multiple women, but you need to be honest about what you do, and you need to understand these principles right here. And these principles are the right of first refusal, tenure, the art of using jealousy against yourself, the art of developing fetishes, and a variety of different techniques that you can use to make sure that you are not becoming sexually complacent with your primary woman. Now, what is one of the main causes of a woman stepping out or playing with fire? A big part of it comes from when either she does not respect you as a man, or she is starting to feel that your energy is becoming feminine because she's performing well and she's on your program, yet you are losing interest and you are losing excitement in a woman who is doing well by you. So what you need to recognize is that when you become complacent with the primary woman in your life, and she is meeting the standards and the expectations that you set for her about how she needs to interact with you, that you need to treat her with better dick being the reward. Now, there's other rewards, but whatever you reward a woman with needs to be something that fits within these criteria. Now, you can train her mind, and you can train her mind through Pavlov's theory, right? Behavioral therapy. But you can train a woman's mind to the point where whatever you decide is going to be reward for how she treats you is something that you're able to reward her with. But it can't be something that she feels that you want just as much as she wants, unless you have the ability to show emotional discipline with it, unless she is on your program and acting right to the extent that she needs to be. Right? Because being faithful is more than just sleeping with just one woman. But being faithful is also about more than being honest with women too. Right? Faithful is about having priorities. Being faithful is about the right of first refusal and tenure. What is tenure, right? Tenure works like this. When a teacher first gets to a job, they're an adjunct professor at a college or university, right? At a college or university, when a teacher first gets to their university, they are an adjunct professor, which means that they may not have their own office necessarily, and they are somewhat on a certain trial probationary period to where if they fuck up, they probably gonna get fired, depending on the mercy of the individual in place, right? But once a person reaches the level of tenure, they're going to have to do a lot of shit in order to lose that job or that position. Understand what that standard is for you. Because also understand that the more time that you spend with a woman, the more chances are that you're going to fall off with how you treat her. And when you get emotionally invested in a woman, which can and should happen if you're dealing with her for an extended period of time, because there's a difference between emotional discipline and emotional unavailability, emotional detachment. Many people conflate having game and emotional detachment with that being masculine. Sometimes that emotional detachment is just a sign of you not being attracted enough to that woman and not valuing that woman. And some women, they add value. And if a woman adds value over an extended period of time, that is a woman who has earned and deserves a certain level of your emotional attachment. But the issue is this: when you are dominant, emotion and femininity is something that corrupts dominance. Very important concept to understand. Femininity is what lubricates for dominance. Femininity lubricates submissiveness. Masculine energy is something that stifles submissiveness. But femininity corrupts dominance. Masculinity adds structure to your dominance. It adds concentration to your dominance. So this is how these things work. The right of first refusal works like this. Right? So, and I'm also add this to it. First come, first serve. If you're first dealing with women, right? If you're first dealing with a particular woman, and you have women that are just starting to deal with you, they haven't had time to prove that they're on your program on a certain extent. They haven't had time to campaign for that position. Then, in my opinion, I do not believe in canceling on one woman to fuck another woman. To me, that is emotional. To me, that is rewarding a woman with dick when she did nothing to deserve it but be beautiful. So it's first come, first serve. That means that if a woman respects you enough to try to schedule seeing you ahead of time, then she gets the right of seeing you on that particular day above a woman who waits to the last minute to try and see you on a particular day. Because the woman who takes time to schedule when she's trying to see you is a woman who naturally either has more respect for you or has more desire for you. That's more feminine and submissive. So when a woman has that type of energy with you, she has that type of mindset about how she goes about interacting with you. An important thing to understand in these particular scenarios: first come, first serve. Don't overly value or prematurely integrate your submissive sexual energy into your interactions with women. Because if you prematurely integrate your submissive sexual energy into your interactions with women, it's going to fuck you up. Now, what I will say is this: if a woman is on your program, you have to shift your mindset from simply being caught up and enthralled with her youth and beauty and her youthful exuberance to being able to identify and shift your focus to her sexual energy and her demeanor with you when it comes to your sexual relationship. So one thing that you can do is use porn as a tool. Use porn as a resource to develop fetishes that will help you with maintaining, sustaining, and building attraction with a woman who is on your program. Also, if certain size, if a certain look is something that is vital to your attraction to a woman, then let it be known, set her expectations about the weight range that she needs to stay in for her body type. So for me personally, I like BBWs. There are slim women I can be attracted to, but one thing I also understand is this: there's a certain weight range for particular women based off of their natural body build and shape that is going to cause them to look more feminine to me. Now, for more feminine to me is more so based on a woman's proportions than her size. That's something that helps me be more integrated, because that gives a woman a certain level of wiggle room that I can make her aware of that I will be attracted in. That means she can lose weight, she can gain weight. Depending on the woman, there's a different weight range. For some women, that weight range is going to be a lot bigger than others based on their natural frame and body build. That's true. So if a woman's natural frame and body build is that she has a pear shape, then she's going to have a bigger weight range, right? If she has a natural apple shape, right, then that weight range is going to be smaller. Unless the dick that I'm giving her causes her hips to spread out, and that happy weight that she's gaining is mostly going to her ass and to her legs, right? I don't mind a little bit of tummy. A little bit of tummy is yummy to me. I like a natural looking woman. I like a woman with a natural body, because to me, in my mind, I like a woman who looks like she's a real woman. There are certain things that look like a woman, could just be a woman, and could just be a transgender woman. And I like a woman who looks like she has the ability to bear children. Another thing is this: you don't have to say that a woman isn't quality because she has children. To me, if a woman has the ability to have children and her body snaps back, even if she's slimmer than what I would usually go for, the fact that her body has the ability to snap back is integrated. That makes me more attracted to her just because her body has the ability to snap back after children. But not every woman has that ability. A woman's value shouldn't be based on her attractiveness to you, because that's feminine to base her value and worth with you on things that are intrinsic. Right? So, how do fetishes factor in? How do fetishes factor in? Develop fetishes. So what you need to do is find a way to look at the different aspects of her body that are going to be sustainable. And those things that are going to be sustainable to you about that woman need to be things that you take within your mindset that say that I am attracted to this. Let me watch porn that emphasizes these body types, these different bodily aspects. I'm going to say right now, this is some advanced game. So this video may not stay up forever. And I'm going to say right now, my Cash App is $AMARIBALL. And it's going to say Coach Brodie. $AMARIBALL. Because I know for a fact that there are a lot of men who do not understand this information, and I'm giving some free game because I understand you have to add value before you ask value. But if you enjoy this information, if this is something that you feel like is going to help you and enrich your relationship, add value where you see value. Hit my Cash App. I'm passing the collection plate around the niggas. So, if she has big lips, me, I'm pro-black, so I like strong African features. Develop a fetish for these things. Right? Things that are sustainable and things that are easily manageable. I like pretty feet. I developed a foot fetish in a time where I was dealing with a woman who gained weight. The foot fetish helped me maintain my attraction to her over that period of time. Now, one thing that definitely helped that was during that time, she started to wear white toenail polish. I know a lot of people say that's a red flag. I like it. It's sexy to me. It looks clean, it looks suckable, and it also looks like they've already been nutted on, right? Like they're ready to get nutted on, like they're open for business. And when you develop that type of fetish in your mind, that is something that helps you sustain attraction to a woman over an extended period of time, right? Appreciate a woman's effort. That means that if a woman comes to you and she has her legs shaved, right? If a woman comes to you and she's made the extra effort to make sure that her vagina is waxed, right? Her vulva is waxed. She's taking the proper necessities. If she smells good, keep in mind those instances where she smelled like that aroused you. Develop that Pavlov's theory within yourself, right? That behavioral therapy. Develop that within yourself with fetishes to trigger a sexual response that will arouse you. So I like big lips. I like natural hair. When I see natural hair, what goes through my mind is the thought of how strongly rooted that natural hair is to that woman's body. And because it's strongly rooted to her body, being able to grab a hold of that and yank on that motherfucker and yank her neck back while I'm slipping and sliding that dick in her and forcing it up in her, there's something that turns me on. So I like to play with a woman's hair. I like to scratch on her scalp. There's something that's soothing her for her, but it's also something that gives me an opportunity and experience of my dominant energy. All right? Another thing is this. Like, so I said pretty toes, natural hair, big lips. Watch DSL porn. Teach her, if she doesn't already know, how to best utilize her lips. So I like a woman with big lips. But teach her how to best utilize those lips to give you head that emphasizes those things. You have to learn how to fetishize different traits of your woman. I like thick thighs. Thick thighs is something that turns me on, right? If a woman has a flat stomach and you like that, think about how fit she is. Think about these different things that turn you on, right? Learn these things. Learn them, study them, right? So there's tenure, there's right of first refusal. Right of first refusal works like this. If you have a primary woman in your life who's on your program, you do not need to be taking food out of her mouth to deal with another woman, right? Now, what I'll say is this. If that woman's on punishment, that is different. But don't punish a woman for some shit that she didn't do unless it is something that you told her to do. Set her expectations, right? So there's this song called How Much Can a Heart Take by Lucky Day. There's this woman named Yeba who was on the song. She said, How do you find the time to wine and dine your bitches better than me? So that's a feminine dominant man. If you have a primary woman, do not spend more money, time, energy, resources, and affection on another woman just because she's new. Thrill seeking and giving women preferential treatment just because they're new and attractive and the new shiny thing will fuck you up. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there's another man who feels that way about your woman. And one thing to think about with feminine dominant men is this. Feminine dominant men do not increase the level of sexual energy that they give a woman over time. They start off top with their highest level of attraction being because the situation is novel. Realize chemistry has to become greater than novelty, than curiosity. Set your curiosity on the new places that you're going to take that woman. Set sexual goals every single year about goals that you need to reach, and don't try to set every single goal something that's within that year unless you feel like there is a high chance that that relationship is going to become an open relationship, right? If it's a relationship where you are primary partners, and within that role of being primary partners, you feel like that woman is a woman who is you feel like you're primary partners and you want to be polyamorous, set certain goals first of things you need to reach before then. Because there's a difference between being in an open relationship or a polyamorous relationship with a woman who does not feel like you're her sexual preference, and you're being feminine and submissive with allowing her to do whatever she wants to do within that relationship while you're emotionally invested because you accept that you can't satisfy that woman, which is being a cuckold, versus being a man who's masculine and dominant, who's already taken her to certain experiences, taking her to certain heights, and understand that you could take her to further heights, and then giving her the freedom and the opportunity to deal with another man in those instances. And even that is a risk, right? In those instances, you need to be at a place where sexual pleasure has already been mixed with the idea of emotional investment. And not on a transactional level. That's a 9-7 dichotomy. On a 7 level of sexual attraction, those feminine sexual acts that you're doing, right? They can be dominant, but like eating their pussy, using sex toys, these different things that men do, cuddling with the woman, excessive foreplay, these are things that are great. But they're more effective on a 9 level than on a 7 level. On a 7 level, a woman is trading access to her body by the fact that you're making her comfortable, right? She doesn't necessarily have that experience with another man who comes across. So if you're dealing with the woman, just understand this is a very important aspect to understand. You have to know this. Another thing is this. You do not have to be a cuckold. One thing that I suggest is this. It's not beneficial for a submissive party who's getting both good D and guidance, right? If you are a submissive party with a masculine dominant individual, it does not benefit you to sleep around because the daddy versus father effect. You can find yourself in a position as a woman. A woman can find herself in a position where she's getting some good dick and some guidance, and she can get a false green flag about her sexual compatibility with another man who may be feminine and dominant. One thing that I push to my clients and to my followers and my subscribers is this: never lead with your A-game dick. And this is very important. I say lead, depending on the wrinkles in your sex game, lead with your C.5, B- game. Why? Because over time, she needs to feel like the closer she gets to you, the better the sex gets. So learn that woman's body in ways to where she can barely even articulate what she's feeling. Right? Take her to places beyond what she thinks she's comfortable with because, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if this woman fucks somebody else who is a feminine dominant, who does not care about her boundaries, right? Then this particular individual may take her to a place that you have not taken her to yet. That may become her guilty pleasure for that moment and period of time. And then that will limit her ability to want to communicate with you on an honest, earnest level. You, because you're emotionally invested, that may hurt your ego, where you may lose some emotional discipline and be too heavily on her ass. And then from that particular place, if you stop being her sexual guilty pleasure, then from that place of not being her sexually guilty pleasure, it will create a daddy versus father effect, where the instructions, the guidance, the teaching that you used to give her was something that felt pleasurable, exciting, and something that she respected. But now it will start to begin to feel like psychological reactants. it will start to feel like you are impeding on her freedoms. It will start to feel like you're taking away from her autonomy, her agency, or as if you are being mean or as if you are being controlling and abusive when you are stepping through the same steps of the process that you were before. But a man can smell on a woman when she feels unappreciated. One thing that I suggest to help with being faithful, or at least making sure that you reward good behavior, is if you feel like you are starting to become sexually complacent, watch porn of a woman cheating with a dude with a BBC, with dude's dick much bigger than yours, with some disrespectful dick. And because something that happens over time is when a man gets comfortable with a woman, oftentimes he shifts his perspective and his focus to being less dominant with the woman, right? And he becomes more based in comfort. And when you become more based in comfort, you may forget that your woman has a slut and a whore within her, and it is your responsibility to tap into that. If you stop tapping into that, it does not mean that that nasty bitch has gone away. She has not ceased to exist. So if you're dealing with a woman in this particular way, what you have to understand, the perspective that you need to take is this. If you feel like you're getting sexually complacent, imagine this woman getting slutted the fuck out by another dude with a huge ass dick. Imagine he is putting the Timberland boot on the back of her fucking neck while he's slamming her head up against the wall, pulling on her hair, spitting in her mouth, thumbing her ass, sucking her toes, choking her, fucking Undertaker, choke slamming her up against the bed, and tell yourself, ain't no way this nigga's about to outdo me with my bitch. That's not gonna happen. Use jealousy as a tool to help yourself if you're getting complacent. Because boredom is a feminine trait. Because boredom is a feminine trait, that means that you're going to be lacking in your ability to be masculine and dominant with that woman. So that means that you're going to be in a position where you're getting into your feminine energy, and you have to take advantage of that at times to step things up before that woman fucks up to the point where you are rewarding bad behavior. You don't want to reward bad behavior. So place the value of the jealousy that you experience while she's behaving well, and give her jealous dick when she's on your program if you feel like you're getting complacent. A very important concept to understand. And another thing to understand is this: you have to make sure that her energy is right with you on a certain level already, because you don't want to lose that between them. So you have to do that in a close enough vicinity of time before you see her and get into that jealous energy. Because communication is overrated. If you over communicate between the time when you feel that jealous energy and you start having a bunch of conversations with her, then she will, being the good woman that she is, she will soothe those insecurities, and then you will not act on that same dominance the way that you should have. So don't talk to her, right? When you feel that way, like you're getting complacent, you take a step back a little bit. You let her know we about to have a dom session. It's daddy-daughter time. Listen, it's daddy-baby-girl time. You watch that shit. You get that shit in your head that gets you real fucked up in your head, and then you slut her out. Slutting a woman out is necessary. It's super necessary, right? In the words of Jorge Masvidal, it's super necessary. If you stop doing it, it doesn't mean she don't want it anymore. And another man is like a shark in the water. He can smell. A dominant man can smell when a woman's pussy's getting cold at night. He can smell when she ain't getting fucked like a slut. And it don't matter if you're a dominant man. He is going to find a way to come through and do that. And the issue with it is this. It's like Joe.
Like, baby, I want to do all the things your man won't do. I do them for you.
Hey, listen, singing ain't my best thing. I can sing sometimes, but I got to prepare myself. I ain't no natural singer. I'm a songwriter, so if I write it, I can sing it. But you got to understand, there are some dirty macking niggas in the game, and there are some dudes who are seeking to take advantage of the coldness in your woman's vagina. Do not let a man have the opportunity to do that with you, but understand they're out there. Understand they're out there. Sometimes you might have, like, what I say is this: don't expose weaknesses in your dynamic to the outside world. Don't do that. But there's a lot of things to go along with this. Another thing is this: watch mature porn. Watch porn where a woman is older in age. I don't care if it's that gummy shit, right? No teeth on her, right? Watch a woman who's not in her peak physical years and understand that when a woman hits her late 30s, 40s, early 50s, that's going to be when a woman's sex drive is going to peak, right? People talk about the value of a man being in his, his late 40s or it's going to be in his 40s, while the value of a woman peaks in her early 20s. I don't agree with that. We're going to say that the value on a masculine, submissive, transactional basis is during that time. But what you have to understand is that the sex drive versus value is flipped. So a man's peak sex drive and testosterone is going to be typically in his late teen to early to mid 20s, right? Late teens to early 20s. That's going to be the peak years of his sex drive as far as his horniness, right? Unless you overgo some mental and hormonal changes in your life that take you to another level later on, those are going to be your peak years. Unless you were a virgin and you waited past that time and you weren't overstimulated mentally or sexually, that's going to be your peak years as far as your sex drive. But a woman's peak years as far as her sex drive is going to be in the same age bracket that you're going to have a peak years in your financial earning potential. In your years of earning money, of working hard in your career field. That's why a lot of women in that age range, they get that lonely housewife syndrome. And guess what? They're going to fuck with dudes who are my age. What I'll say about this is this, real quick. If you understand pleasure denial, you understand edging, you understand rewards and punishments, and you know how to extend those things outside the bedroom, then you could teach a woman not to play with fire and to be rewarded with dick, where she has to work on it and wait for it and work for it and wait for it, to where when she finally gets it, she enjoys it so much that the idea of fucking with somebody else is not even attractive. And you can do that when you're in a place where you're an older man and you may not have the sex drive you used to when you were younger. Do that. I say establish your sexual chemistry on what you could do with your physical body first, but after a while, yes, do implement some toys, some different things in there that can take it to the next level. And these are just some tips on how to be faithful, some tips on how to maintain and sustain your sexual compatibility over an extended period of time, how to reward good behavior. This is just some advice for how to be a masculine dominant man in a long-term relationship. Sexual integration over time. This is Coach Brodie. I'm out. And hold up. Before you leave, nigga, go ahead and hit that like, hit that motherfucking subscribe bar, comment, let me know what stuck out to you, share it, and fuck with your boy.